This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Hello, good evening and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. My name's Dan Fudge and tonight I'm joined by Ash, Holly and Simon. The season has officially started and it started in a way that we hope isn't indicative of the season going forward with a 2-1 loss at home to Southampton. The signings in the last week have come thick and fast, including a new goalkeeper. So join us tonight to make sense of whether it's time to panic already or if Denis Vasquez will take the gloves from what some people have dubbed on the internet Calamity Cam. What did you think of our new signings on the day? Do you feel this will be a starting lineup come the end of the transfer window? Join us tonight as we try to make sense of it. Oh, how's everybody feeling? That was I tell you what, these late night Friday games are good for a beer, aren't they, Ash? Like, Christ almighty, son. How were you feeling Saturday morning?
Yeah, I was all right, actually, mate. Yeah, not too bad.
I don't drink that 6% nonsense that you drink either, so, that's...
Yeah. I'll ruin you that, will, Daniel.
Well, we'd had a beer and Blair fell asleep in the new crown, so that's nice, isn't it? So that's what we did. So season started, folks. Let's get right into it. Simon, the starting lineup was what it was. I mean, let me see if I can get it up. See if I can take a look at see if there's anybody outstanding on there. We had a couple of the new signings. So Delgado started, and at the back we had Patterson and Firmino playing fullback, with Volks and Bakison in front of them. I mean, a bit of a different lineup to what we used to. I mean, anybody stand out for you there?
No. Was it me? Was it you?
Yeah, it was you.
I thought it was me. No. I think we expected that after the Luton game, the friendly we had the week before. It was very similar setup. Patterson's not a right back. I love the bloke to bits, but he's not a right back, and he had his backside given to him on a plate, didn't he, during the game? I like Delgado. I know a few of you disagreed, but I actually liked him. I thought there's a player in there. Femwo didn't. I thought the shining light for me was Iorfa, but he has been all the way through pre-season. He's been superb through pre-season, and long may that continue. I thought Volks was a little bit lost. Bakkinson, again, people say it's probably one of his better games compared to what he's played before. It's not hard, is it, really? Bannon, oh dear, I don't know what to say about Barry Bannon. I don't think the position suits him.
There's a whole subject there, I think, that we could go on with. But yeah, that'll be interesting talking for 5 or 10 minutes. I think
I look. 1-0 down at 8 minutes, I thought to myself, oh crap, we're going to get absolutely annihilated here. But at half time, 1-0 down, I actually said to my mate, I'll take that. I really did. And no, I did. There's a huge gulf that's appeared, and I think it's actually appeared since we got relegated 2 years ago between the top championship teams that have come down from the Premiership and those that are going up. And players that were worth 4 or 5 million a few years ago are now worth 35, 40, 50 million, and they're a different class, the players that are coming down, and I think that showed on Friday. I thought second half was better, but you could see the difference between the two sides, definitely.
I mean, Holly, let's talk about the opening goal. I had no idea that Armstrong got a flick on it. I just thought it was an absolute wonder strike from Teller, and it came a bit of a shock. We kind of went, oh, we're in a game now, because you kind of get excited, don't you? It's the first game of the season. You're like, this is going to be all right. And then, to me, it looked like he just bent it straight in, but apparently not, according to the write-up that I had to read 2 days later when I could see straight.
Yeah, I had to watch it a few times to see where he actually touched it. But when you see it, it does take it a bit further away from Dawson. Your favourite. I think it might have got a little bit on it if it hadn't have hit Armstrong. But that Teller were really good all the way through, really, to be fair. Him and Ward-Prowse were getting in and out of Firmino and Windass. When he eventually came back, and Ehekwe, they were in and out all the time, especially that first 15 minutes when Windass, before he got told to come a bit further back, they made that same run right in front of us quite a number of times.
They did.
Actually, before I go on to anything else,
I'm
going to disagree with Simon straight away.
Oh, here we go, lads. Popcorn out.
From where we were sitting, admittedly, we were obviously on the Firmino side and not the Patterson side. But we were seeing the crosses coming from our side across that way. And Iorfa and Patterson seemed to get the red on pretty much everything. And then somebody posted up earlier today, I'm not really a stats person, but they did say that Patterson won more aerial duels, more interceptions, more clearances, had the most touches and cleared one off the line. So we can't have done that bad.
But I just noticed you're looking down at your lap there, Holly. Have you made notes for this show?
No, I just wrote that down because I thought Blair was on and he messaged in the group during the game saying, "Oh, where's all these people who love Patterson?" So I thought I'm offering him, but he wanted it. It's all right. Simon brought it up.
I think
that's all he said to me.
I watched a clip on Twitter yesterday from a Southampton point of view, and it was the winger who was against Patterson, Idoze, I think his name was, and he absolutely, it was just like 4 minutes of him ripping Patterson a new one. but there you go. But then the stats come out. This is the thing about stats, and then watching clips. He absolutely did. But then the stats say Patterson had a great game with exactly what you said, Holly, about clearances, tackles, interceptions. So you can always look at different things. But I didn't think Patterson had the best game. I really don't. But everyone loves stats, don't they?
So I think the problem with it was that when the way that they were making the pass and move, it needed either Backinson to shuffle across one way or other, or the wingers to come back and drop into that, because they were using the full width. So if that Teller came all the way to the edge, if Firmino goes out, there's a gap. And then that's where Ward-Prowse were running. I can only say from what we're at our side, but that's where Ward-Prowse was running into until our new manager decided to tell him to come back and didn't wait for 60 minutes to change.
I think Pato's Achilles heel was he just hasn't got a turn of speed that the left back had.
Listen, it was weird because Adozi didn't seem to subscribe to the pass and move as much as everybody else. Like he wanted to get it down and take a run, and Patterson kind of, he was up for the battle. But it's one of those where you have the conversation with yourself and think, if Patterson had been at fullback in a 5-3-2, would he have had a better time because he's got that cover? And I kind of want to get away from the 5-3-2 because it's boring to watch. Now, speaking of formation changes, Ash, you mentioned it earlier on, playing Bannon in what they call the cam role, which is something we spoke about on this show for a number of years, and this is where he should be playing, then he drops too deep and he needs cover and things like that. Now, what I want to say is stick with it. However, the pass and move, God, the passing that they did was sublime, right? The passing that they did absolutely took Bannon out of the game, which must have been part of their game plan, right? They must have seen our team and gone, right, we need to nullify this guy because when he got the ball at his feet, he's going to be mint. And he was ineffective, and I don't think it was his own fault, if I'm honest. Ash, what do you reckon?
No, I know. I've said it many times on this podcast that I've always I'm not been a Bannon basher, but he's not always been my favourite or the one I look to. But I don't think it was his fault. I really don't. Friday night, I think the quality of Southampton, and I think Muniz has said that he's going to look at playing a different role, which is good. It'll lighten the load off him. We're not going to be as reliant on him. But it just shown, I think, on Friday night that the way that Southampton, and I don't personally think that they set up like that to knock Bannon out of the game. I think that's just how Martin wants to wants to play him. And
I think that's just how they play, isn't it?
Was it nearly 500 passes in the first half? It was a record, weren't it? And then 970 something in the game, which is absolutely you're just chasing yourself, aren't you? So I just think Bannon, I don't think it mattered where he was. He was ineffective, but not his fault. Really wasn't.
No.
I think if he sticks with what he wants, his philosophy and how he wants the team to play, maybe Southampton were probably the wrong team to start with. But we have to play everyone, it's going to be a different. It's going to be a different. Sorry, Holly.
Whoever plays Southampton in a month's time is going to play that Southampton team, either. So
absolutely right. Absolutely right.
100%, and that is a whole different argument of the transfer window shutting 4 weeks after the start of the game. Because, like you say, whoever plays Southampton in the next 3 or 4 weeks, it's not going to be the same unless, obviously, Ward-Prowse and Lavia get brought up in the next week.
Well, Lavia's been courted by Liverpool, and Ward-Prowse was courted last week by West Ham. I mean, to be in a position in the Championship to turn down 30 million quid is beyond farcical. And then, especially if you're playing the team that's just come up from League One, I think 2-1 is essentially a respective result because, like you say, by the end of the month, their two best players might not be with them, right? But let's talk about Southampton because obviously, having spent the years down there that I have, you kind of learn a thing or two about their team, and they've always struggled with strikers over the last couple of years. They've always had a bit of a bad time because I don't think that Che Adams is a particularly good striker. Like he's not clinical enough, and you can see that with Southampton and Scotland, another team that I can watch. But I just feel like they passed and they passed and they passed, and if they're going to win this league and if they're going to get promoted, they're going to need to be a lot more ruthless in front of goal. They had more than enough opportunities to break into our 18, and the fact that it was only 2-1 was testament to, I thought, our defence, especially our two centre-backs, were absolutely outstanding. There was a lot of balls getting in, and there was a lot of times where they've just gone, see you later, got rid. Iorfa was a man possessed that day. I genuinely, impressive to watch. Now,
they had 23 shots done as well. They had 23 shots, 7 on target compared to our 8 shots, 1 on target, which was obviously Gregory's cracking finish.
Yeah. So I mean, to only have that lower percentage of shots on target means that the defense have done enough to move it wide and all the rest of it. Now, Simon, let's talk about Liam Palmer because I'm glad Stevie's not on here. Came on for Will Vaulks. Now, on paper, that for me was the substitute to make because Vaulks is a little more attacking than Palmer, and Palmer's got a more of a defensive head. But when it comes to that Ward-Prowse run and playing centre midfield, it just a momentary lapse of concentration, just absolutely dropped his ass a little bit, and then we've got somebody on the fringe of the England squad tearing into our 18. I mean, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I thought it was one substitution too many, to be honest. He seemed to make a lot of changes towards the end of the second half that I think disrupted it a little bit. I think Palmer's not played much pre-season, has he? He was injured. He had this operation, I think, on his groin. I don't know how many games he's played, but he's come and done bit parts. Was he completely match fit? Probably not. Playing a position that, all right, we played him Peterborough at home and then in the final in midfield, but he's played majority of his time in defence, right back, centre back. I thought it was a wrong decision bringing him on and putting him in that position. Obviously, Cisco's decided to do that, and that's what's happened. I think it's just down to the fact he's probably he's a little bit fragile after coming back from injury. They've all been guilty of tracking back at the time, haven't they? I think we need I think the Bannon thing is we need somebody to break teams down in midfield to allow, if Bannon's going to play that false 9 or whatever you want to call it, that attacking midfielder, we need somebody in the middle of the park who is going to break those play up to be able to provide the ball to him. Maybe that's what he's seen with Palmer, but I think Palmer, I don't think he's fit. I don't think he's match fit. I think it was a poor decision to bring him on. And again, we tend to do a lot of substitutions towards the end and switch players around a lot in a very short amount of time against a team who effectively were well drilled and knew what they were doing.
They were impressive, and I've watched Saints be shite for years, and that's what's kind of annoying. Now, but speaking of another substitution that we made, Holly, and I want you to clear this up for me. I want to say it was Fletcher, but it could have been Masaba. When he came on, there was a run where you'll sit down the left-hand side, where he went from the halfway line right down to the edge of the 18. And everybody got really giddy. And it was like, well, he's a Wednesday legend already. Yeah, everybody lost their mind. It was Masaba, wasn't it? We were like, well,
he's Fletcher.
Fletcher was fairly ineffective when he came on. But let's talk about the goal, H. So came right out of it against the run of play. Did you feel like we were on top at all before, or we just managed to get one from a set piece?
Our goal?
Yeah.
I always thought that we were going to get one. I never really thought we were going to get two, which was the problem. We had a couple of moments where we sort of got a bit of a rush on. In the first half, Patterson.
I love the way you said that, like you're working in a factory. Like, we've got a rush on, lads. Come on, like it's Bank Holiday Monday and you're working in a restaurant. We've got a rush on. You know what I mean? It's all gone to shit. Somebody give me a hand on the bar.
No, I mean a bit like nosebleed territory. We actually had the ball for more than one pass before they got it back. Patterson put in a couple of naff crosses in first half, didn't he? But I thought if one of them came off, and to be fair, did it come from a corner? All those corners were rubbish except this one.
Yep.
And it were Iorfa who made the header again. I thought Iorfa were absolutely brilliant. After all the things I have said about him, I thought he was absolutely ace.
Future husband.
And I did shout, get on it, Big Dom. And I hope that you've not heard me all the way through last season.
Well, you sit close enough where he can hear you, H. So you know what I mean.
I'm
good luck with
that as encouragement for him. But yeah, a great finish by Gregory, to be fair. Not that there's any doubt, obviously.
I think it was a proper striker's finish when it just ball down and just have at it. And for some reason, I got it on camera. I was trying to get bits for the TikTok, and I've ended up recording it. And then when it's gone in, I've stopped recording. I don't know what I was doing. I thought, I was 6 pints in by this point. You know what I mean? So, Ash, go on. I mean, Patterson put some crosses in, but they were a bit wayward, weren't they?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I don't think he had his best game on. Through my eyes, which have been through a few pints.
I wanted to drill down on this, Ash, because you were in a new seat this year. You were watching it from the side. You had the camera's bird's eye view, didn't you? I mean, what was that like from what you saw?
From what I saw, it's different. It is if anyone knows who moves seats or different side of the stadium, it takes a bit of getting used to, and my eyes aren't the best anyway. But it was all right. It was all right. I could get a pint at half time and all that and things. I know, not that I needed much more, but it was like I said, Patterson. I thought Gregory's goal was pretty good. That was a well worked goal. Like I say, Iorfa nodding it down from a deep cross, which we don't see many of them actually. We haven't seen them for a while. Deep crosses. So it was in. Gregory first time, but even after that, I don't think you get the 5-10 minutes after there where you're thinking, hang on, like I'll say, push on, and if I don't think we even did that. It was just hard. I think it was hard work for Wednesday, to be honest.
I actually thought we had a far better second half when we came out. He'd obviously had a bit of a talk to them, and I thought we were in it in the second half up until them scoring, and the score it was very much, it was a sort of, we seemed to be dealing with him really well, and then he sort of danced through midfield and scored, played some great football, and then after that, Christ, I don't think we touched the ball until final whistle, did we? It was just Jesus, for Christ's sake. And then obviously we're playing this new the referees are playing this new rule where they just add every minute on.
Yeah.
So what would we have? We have nine minutes, was it? Was it 6 minutes and then 9 minutes?
Yeah, I think we had 9 minutes in that second half, the end of the second half. And I think Sheffield Wednesday had the ball in possession 38 seconds.
It felt like that after they scored. It was just like a training match for Southampton.
It was ridiculous, absolutely
Uh,
ridiculous. And I don't think. I mean, for all what we said earlier about James Ward-Prowse and that Lavia didn't even come on, so he's definitely off it. So why risk him getting injured? And Ward-Prowse, it was good, but he wasn't outstanding.
It was okay.
The ones I took out of it was obviously that small bone in the middle, and Edozie, the winger. They're the two that stood out for me, and that's he must have had a quiet game, Ward-Prowse. If you're saying that, it's £30-odd million if he just sat there and he has a quiet game. But he, like I said, on the away fixture when we go to St Mary's, it'll be a totally different team.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of the new rules for all the yellow cards either. I thought he were playing Connect 4 on the scoreboard. We had about, were there 10 or 9 yellow cards in the game for all naff things? They were never going to give a second one to send someone off, really.
He yellow carded one at coaches as well, didn't they?
There's only one coach is allowed in the technical area now, apparently. So he
really
dared to step in the little box and got a booking.
Is that just the manager then? Just the manager, or what? Manager plus one? Just
the manager. The Barnsley keeper got booked for time wasting when they were 6-0 up because they're just booking everybody now. Everyone's just getting.
Oh, mate, come on! I agree with that. That's.
I feel like you got booked, Ash. Si, you were nearly on a red. Everybody were in contention for a booking.
Tell you what, if they'd have seen the state I was in, they wouldn't have let me on. Right, so I tell you what then. So look, soundly beaten, and I'd love to sit here and complain about it, but it's the first game of the season. We're in a new league. They've just come down 80% possession. They've absolutely given us a schooling, and it's the first game of the season, so I'm not going to lose my mind about it yet. I assume we're all in agreement unless anybody's mega concerned, or you know what I mean. I feel like it is what it is, right?
The only thing I'd say is with Palmer, if we're going to play him in midfield, and I'm doing Stevie's task for him here, but I feel like we might need to be more patient with him because does he do a little point to somebody to follow the run and then he doesn't follow the run? Whereas if he were in defence, he'd know he's the last one, so he has to go with it. And I don't know whether he wasn't fully convinced on whether to go or to stay. So we might just need to be a little more patient if he is going to play a bit further forward.
It's very middle of the road, that, Holly. You're going to have splinters on your ass with that one, aren't you?
I think I sent out a tweet before the game and said just time. I think everyone just needs to give the team time. It's a new team with 8 new signings. Obviously, Xisco's got a way he wants to play. Yes, we've come up against what everyone would probably say one of the top 2 teams in the league, especially with the squad they've got at the minute. And I wasn't too disheartened at all. I did do a thing of 1-1, but if we'd have lost 2-0, and a stupid thing to say this, but a good 2-0, which we showed a bit. We could see what Xisco wants to do. We've got the new signings come on. I'm rubbish with names. I'm trying to look at. Masaba came on. He looked bright, like you said. He was one of those that his first couple of touches, you got your arse off your seat, and looking for him. So I wasn't disheartened at all. I thought it was a good showing. I think I tell you what, and I'm not a positive guy. You all know this. But I was a hell of a lot more positive Saturday morning after the loss than I was before the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does.
I do. And on the point of Bannon and the way thing, I think Windass is going to come and play probably behind the if he plays one up top. Bannon will be a bit deeper, and if Byers is going to be fit this season, if it's a big if at the look of it at the minute, he's going to be quite instrumental with how
Have we had any word on Byers, Ash?
I think it was just precautionary. I think he pulled a muscle or I don't know, tweaked a toenail or something, and it was just precautionary.
Tweaked his toenail.
Yeah, tweaked his toenail. I know.
Jot that down. Okay, so look, soundly beaten. Let's move on to we've got the League Cup tomorrow night. Let's see if we can make it a more convincing win. Now, let's talk about match day experience. So, Ash, I was with you. Holly, you came a little later. Simon, how did your getting into the ground go?
Right, okay. So, yeah, this new scanning of ticket malarkey is an issue that they need to sort out. I know some of you guys just shot straight in. We're obviously up in the grandstand, so there wasn't the armrests padded. Need it, old
Cucumber
body.
sandwiches.
That's it. Need to stretch my legs out and shit. And what I found is, if you look at the back of the old season tickets, everybody here will have. In fact, you've got a new season ticket, haven't you, Dan?
I have.
So on the back of yours, oh right, you have. Yeah. On the back of yours, does it have the QR codes at the top?
It has two QR codes and a barcode.
And the barcode. So basically, by all accounts, if you buy a ticket, it scans QR codes. Mm-hmm. But on a season ticket, it scans the barcode. And what it would appear to have been happening is it's trying to scan the QR codes first. So the girl who was on the turnstile when we went in, Ethan went in before me and he was trying, and she had to put a finger over the QR codes and scan the barcode, and then it let us in. No problem at all. Now, I went to the Luton game last week, bought tickets, had QR code, we shot in. So I think it's the design on the season tickets that's the issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Blue Peter it. I'm going to stick a little bit of masking tape over the two QR codes for the Preston game and try it then, see if that sorts it.
Well, when we went through the turnstile, people were shouting from inside the turnstile going, scan your QR code. So then everybody were ready with QR code, but then they had a season ticket. So then they were like, no, scan your barcode. So everyone's ready with barcodes, and they were confusing.
It is, but what gets me is they've cut the mesh that was there, that's probably been up there for forever. I mean, certainly in the lower part of South Stand, they've cut it and then put pipe lagging around it. And then cable tied it around. It looks just so Heath Robinson. It's just looks so shit.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it does actually say scan this bit for entry. I'm pretty sure it says on there, because I remember picking up my card and going, oh, which bit do I scan? Oh, that one where it says. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, for God's sake, this is, and I'm pretty sure there's like a little laser coming out of it showing you the bit that it's reading. You know what I mean? Like
but
it's just going to take some getting used to.
It is, but if it's trying to pick up both, then it is gonna struggle, isn't it? So you just gotta. But look, it were always going to happen, weren't it? New systems, people turning up 2 minutes before kick-off.
Well, we got there early. We got there early, Ash, didn't we? We thought we'll go and have a pint in the car park / fan zone. That's the first time I've ever seen it in the flesh. I'd never normally bother. And I thought, right, I'll go down. And there's a couple of geezers, a couple of Lego head kids playing some music on the top of the bar. Thought this would be fun. And then all of a sudden the movement just stopped, didn't it, Ash?
Yeah, it was a little bit busy, wasn't it? I mean, fair play, busy. That's what you want. But the queue was horrendous, and then you like get in the queue, and then you're looking over, see what the queue of the bar's like, and it was about as long as the queue to get in.
Yeah, there was a queue to get into the corner of the car park that they'd given us.
Yeah.
And then there was another queue at the bar. And then there was a queue for the porter cabins for a slash. And, once I broke the seal, I don't know if anybody else is the same, but when I'm on the beers and I broke the seal, I'm up and down like a pair of kangaroos in the mating season. I can't stop. You know what I mean? I was wearing combats. I had to be careful of getting a wet penny. Sometimes when you have an over-vigorous shake and you've got full-on map of Africa down the front of your combats. You know what I mean? You don't want that.
I didn't have that trouble though, did I? Do you know why I didn't have that trouble?
Why is that, mate?
Because someone already spilled a pint all over my jeans in the boozer.
Did I do that?
No, Blair did.
Of course he did.
That seems to be standard for you, though, Ash. Having amounts of alcohol thrown over you, then looking like a certain continent. Not incontinent.
No, not incontinent. Continent, yes, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so that was I had to
And
walk.
and that was the point where I lost you, Ash, wasn't it? And I was to turn around like you weren't there, and I thought, right, he'll go in anyway. We're in a different stand. And then I thought, but what was your experience getting in? Do you go through the same turnstiles as Simon on that stand?
No, different. No, straight in. Not an issue.
We segregate the normal people.
Yeah, obviously.
Not an issue, but what was it? What was it? 7:15? About 45 minutes, something like that, before kickoff. I think we got in. No issue, straight in. But I did see obviously social media and everyone saying they did have issues. So if it was different readers or the turnstile people helping, or that people were just fucking idiots.
I just thought the name of the show there. Where's me readers? You know what I mean? Well, where's me readers? I need me readers. Right, go on then, Holly. Now, Holly, you get there late, much to the chagrin of the club, right? And I understand why you get there late, because once you're in early, like I was, you can't get a pie, a drink, a pint, especially on the Cop. I mean, it's genuinely awful. There was these two poor girls who looked like they'd never poured a pint before, and you think, oh Christ, we need some more staff. Where's the staff? They're helping people use a barcode. You know what I mean? So I can't get a pint because people can't use a barcode. I mean, what did you see outside? Were you planning on getting in there just as kickoff happened, or like you normally did?
So we get there late because it brings us luck. How much luck?
Of course.
And
we've been so fucking lucky the last 2 years in the third tier of the English football pyramid.
When
yeah,
we
it's
were
been
on
working
quite
a treat.
Good run at the end of the season before last. The only games that we went in early were the ones that we lost, the Rotherham game or whatever. Then at the end of the good run that we had recently, we went in early at Barnsley. We went in early at Forest Green. So we returned back to the missing the kickoff time. And lo and behold, we got promoted. So it worked.
So do you feel like the players are going, that old fella and his daughter's not here?
Yeah,
let's go play rate good for first 5 minutes.
Possibly. The system works. Anyway, obviously didn't really... Well, maybe it did work. Who knows how bad it would have been if I'd have turned up on time. But there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people still outside. It's his own fault for getting there late. But they did start opening more turnstiles, and then they were just taking your stuff off of you and scanning it for you and then getting you in.
So with the technical advances that we've had in a barcode, a piece of technology that's been in circulation for 50 years, we had to get a young person in to come and show us how to use the technology. It sounds like me at work. I don't know if it's the same as you lads, but if they sit around with a computer, I'm like, child, you know how this works. Come and do a technology for me, please. Like, you know what I mean?
Lo and behold, it was a user error, and people started moving in much faster once someone else did it for them. So
I'm trying to get my head around why they've done it.
It works everywhere else. It works at like Leeds. They have similar,
they have
better attendances than us, and people just get it. I've never been in a queue outside there.
But theoretically, one of the things they're saying is if you've got a concession or you've got a student card or a veteran's card or something like that, it flags up then that you've got a student card or a concession card. So, for example, if I give somebody an adult our Ethan season ticket, and 50-year-old walks in and scans it, they just let them in. Whereas this goes beep, they should be under 16. So it's not as if we're getting away from turnstile operators, like a lot of the grounds have got no turnstile operators at all, have they? So I'm trying to get my head around. It must be some, I don't know, accounting system or something like that. The old system wasn't updated anymore, because before it was just a barcode reader, and you put it underneath. The guy scanned it, and you went in. And if the guy looked at you and went, hang on, that's concession, and he looks 50, then they don't let you in. But this has to have a buzzer to say they don't. Got to check. I don't understand the reasoning behind it, because obviously it's been a huge investment.
I don't know. Do you know what? I'm gonna stand by the side of the club on this one. We have PDQs at work, we have card readers at work, and the support that comes around them is normally piss poor. But you're right. If this is going to be a labour saving device to save money on the day, and you've still got to have a geezer stood there, what have you changed it for? You know what I mean?
I can only think it's because they want next season tickets are all going to be on these.
Yeah, and then you cut down on the printing costs, which is only going to save you about $4,000. You know
Unless
what I mean?
there's a lot of people getting a concession ticket that are like 80 and they're getting like a under fives ticket or something. Who knows? Like maybe there's absolutely loads of those people getting the kid tickets and sneaking in, and they've realised. And I don't know. I may or may not know someone who's done that before, but not at Hillsborough.
They must know who, well, not who, but they must know the amount of money that they're actually supposedly losing by people doing that. And obviously, this season will be a hell of a lot more if you're charging 59 quid a ticket and someone rocks up as a fiver. So I would imagine they've done that this season because they know that the extortionate tickets, the prices they're going to charge, that they've invested in, like you say, thousands. It must be thousands for these little posh card readers.
No, I reckon they'll be on a trial for the first 3 months, and then you'll probably see something improve in December. But let's hope. Let's hope. But the main message is it's the barcode that we're scanning, and don't listen to the rando man who's just shouting the word QR code. Is essentially the words that we're all telling you. And so the football then went on. Barnsley won 7-0 the following day, but they're not in our league, so that's all right, isn't it? And then if you look at the bottom of the league, it wasn't a great day for Yorkshire in general, was it? I think there's a lot of Yorkshire teams down there at the bottom. But Ash, I'm coming towards the end of what I had to talk about. I've not got much else, but I know you were trying to give away. Or it was you, Simon? Sorry, my apologies. You were trying to give away some tickets. Did you manage to sort that out?
Yeah. I had 2 tickets for tomorrow. As I was saying before the podcast, I'm just so snowed under work, and I go on holiday tomorrow. But in the meantime, last week I went, oh yeah, I'll say, Stockport game. I'll buy 2 tickets, and then suddenly realised I'll actually be on a flight to Turkey tomorrow night when Wednesday are playing. So I put them on Twitter. Do we still call it Twitter? What's it called?
It's called X. It's just called X now.
X.
Yes, and it's not a tweet; it's a post.
Oh God! Right. So I went on Twitter and put them up, and somebody contacted me, and now they've got them. And you know what? I think it was £22. I'd rather somebody go than 2 empty seats, and somebody who probably who can't afford to take the kids. It's an adult and a child, so hopefully that child will go and go, brilliant, and want to go again. And I think that's something that we as a podcast are trying to do anyway, through our raffles, etc. And I know further down the line we'll be broadcasting what we're doing with money that we're raising over the year to help people out.
That's the segue I was trying to go for, Ash. So you've launched a new raffle this evening, my friend?
Yes, we have. Yeah, of course. So we have had a print of a very good painting that a local artist, I believe, did of Stockdale and Bannon. The one where he's lifting him up after the I think it was after the final. So someone's donated one of those prints, but they've also had it signed by Mr. Bannon and Mr. Stockdale as well. So it's a limited edition 18 of 150, but obviously it's been signed. So we've set up a raffle. Like you said, we had a really good feedback and really good monies, for a better thing to say, from the shirt. So we've put that up tonight. So that's only going to run for 2 weeks this time, though, Daniel. Not 4 weeks. So everyone, you don't need to rush and wait and things like that. So it's going to be 2 weeks. It's £1 a ticket. So if you can, that'll be fantastic. If you can't, that's all right. We don't ask for money for anything else. So please do raise some more funds for us for our community projects that we are doing.
Amazing. Okay, so as Simon mentioned there, Holly, upcoming, we've got Stockport. Now, a lot of the times on this show, bear in mind, when we're trying to get out of League One, I'm like, we don't want a cup run. I'm not interested. Let's just get out this bloody league. And then now we've got out the bloody league. There's part of me now that's thinking, I don't want a cup run. Let's just stay in this bloody league. I mean, what are you thinking?
I want a cup run. Oh, no, not necessarily a cup run. I just want a really good couple of good cup draws.
A big tasty fixture somewhere.
One of the cup dates drops on my birthday, so that'd be nice. Nice away day.
So I assume you're feeling positive about Stockport. I mean, we're probably bedding a few of the new signings and whatnot.
I think we'll have a lot of the newbies on. I would imagine.
Do you reckon that our new goalkeeper might get a run out?
Is that what you're hoping for? You can't you can't say Dawson did anything wrong.
No, I can't. But I tell you what I did today was put together a montage of Cameron Dawson fucking it up from memory.
What?
And
why?
There's just too many, because I feel like, right, and I know you're all going to say, but just allow it, right? So I think that Cameron Dawson gets a bit of a, not a free pass. I think he gets a little bit of a, blue and white striped spectacles looked at, because he's homegrown, because he's one of our own, and I just feel like his distribution's piss poor. I mean, that we've seen the one at QPR where we lost a clean sheet in the cup the other year. There was one where we played Barnsley and he ballooned it to their geezer. You know what I mean?
These are from years ago. You need to let it go. How can you not be positive at the start of the season?
Right, listen. I just feel right. Look, I thought he was good against Southampton, but there is a big fuck up inside him, and that's the difference between a good keeper and an average keeper. Is that you need to keep your concentration. Look at Petr Cech when Chelsea were winning every game that they ever played. He probably got called on once or twice a game, and he was outstanding. His distribution was very good. Offered himself up as an extra player, but we just seem to go to.
You've just Dan. You've just compared probably one of the top 8-10 keepers in Premier League history, Petr Cech, to the one and only Ginger Cam Dawson, homegrown Chef Wednesday, who plays Cech in Premier League and's got multi-million-pound centre halves in front of him and things like that. You can't compare that, man.
I think the thing is with Cam Dawson is what Xisco, how he foresees the way we play. And I think he does want a keeper who can actually act as that 11th outfield player by being able to play the ball. And I think that's where Charles is, from what I've seen of him, is better at doing. But he's very slight. So, I mean, I haven't seen this AC Milan, is it? The where they've signed him from? I haven't.
He plays for AC Milan.
He hasn't played 1 minute for AC Milan. You can't. He signed for them.
If he is the sort of player who has good feet and can play out from the back, he gives you that 11th outfield player, doesn't he? Which Cameron Dawson, I like the bloke. Don't get me wrong, and that isn't blue and white spectacles. I think he's an half decent keeper, but his distribution is fucking dreadful. It is awful. No, it is, and it always has been. It always has been. Cam's has. But saying that save that he made in the Wembley final, from that angle was a fantastic
and that's it. Like,
save.
Don't get me wrong, right? So there's an element of he has got better, but we still talk about him like he's 22. The same way people talk about Jesse Lingard like he's a kid and Dele Alli like he's a kid. These are grown-ass adults now. These are people that have grown into the body. I mean, come on, man. Surely, when we've been spoilt with keepers. We've had Carson, Kirkland, Westwood, I'd argue, was one of the best keepers in the league at one point. But I tell you what, they never did. Any of this.
They have come up with the answer, though, not for long.
He set up Atinuyu at Leeds. That's a poor kick out from Dawson. He gave it straight away and a chance for QPR to score. He's come inside and touches it off now for Travis. And he's hit the post and it ricochets and comes back off the back of Dawson.
Now Ward having a strike.
Chance here for Brentford's played across to Silva.
Yeah! How did he get to that? But this is progress. Dawson.
I can't believe you.
I can't believe you've done that.
I remember that Barnsley game. That was awful. The crowd were awful.
Not having that,
absolutely
Daniel.
awful.
I know what it is.
4 penalties last season.
He's 28, by the way. He's 28.
I know what it is. I know what Dan's issue
It's
is.
because he left him a shit review.
It's that review, isn't it?
It is.
It's that review.
I just don't rate it. I don't have him in the same regard as Kieran Westwood, Chris Kirkland, even
But
Nicky
you could
Weaver.
make a mistakes reel of Kieran Westwood.
Yeah, you
all
could.
All the times he came flapping out and got sent off or whatever. You could use that, but your task now is to find some good Cameron Dawson clips and play.
Listen. I could do that with just the Wembley clips, right? And there was one or two there, and there was some good moments on Friday night. Don't get me wrong, but I guess what I'm saying is we need decent competition for that number one jersey. And when we just had Wildsmith and Dawson, it was like, oh God, it was like Sophie's Choice, man. The pair of them were still trying to grow into their bodies. They didn't really command the box. And then there was a point where Wildsmith was leaps and bounds ahead of Dawson. Then Dawson came in, had a great game against Sheffield United. But I know I'm being facetious, don't get me wrong. That was just a bit of a gag reel. But do you not feel like it's time that we should have... Ash, come on, man, back me up. You like a winch. Come on, man. It's just, why am I the negative one and you're all upbeat and whatnot?
It's the start of the season.
It's the start of the season. It's right. So Stockdale left, and we had last season. We all know what happened. In out. He changed them all about into dropped Dawson for whatever reason. Put Stockdale in. Dropped Stockdale for whatever reason. And then he went with Dawson towards the end of the season, and he's brought in a guy that I have really got. We've seen 30-second YouTube video of a couple of good saves and stuff, but exactly what we've just seen. You can make a good highlight reel of anybody against a shit one like Dan's just absolutely thrown Cammy Dawson under the bus with. But
I also think
it does need someone half decent, and this guy's supposed to be half decent, so let's give it a go.
Go on.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen this highlights reel from the other guy either. But I think I don't think Wednesday fans give Dawson an easy ride. When there were a point in the game where he punched it over the top of a lot of bodies, and everybody
that nearly
around
went
us,
in there.
No, because everybody around us went, catch it! How's he going to catch it above everyone's head? And then it bounces off at top of someone's head, and then you put that in the reel anyway. Whatever he does in that situation is not going to be right, is it?
But it was a well shit punch, though, wasn't it?
Keepers have got to punch it in that scenario. They've got
to. And right. And if you're punching it, you punch it. You don't go like you know what I mean.
You check everything, don't you?
Yeah.
Like it. Oh God, it was like watching the two nerds at IT fighting.
Where's Blair when you need him? I still think it'll be down to how Cisco wants to play, and I do think distribution will be a huge factor in.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to go for a more European style, aren't we? Where we kind of play out from the back and whatnot. My concern with that is, do we have the players for that?
Well, you're gonna. Sorry, Dan. You're gonna have that where if it is Vasquez that plays, he's not gonna want to lay the ball off to Iorfa, or if it's going to be Bambo number 5, or if it's going to be Deshaun, it's going to be Bannon picking it up, isn't it?
Mm.
And this is where I think it may change. This is where I think Cisco will want to play, where Bannon will be the one that will be deep, picking it up from the keeper who's come out 30 yards and laying it off to him. So, and yeah, I have to agree. Dawson's not that guy, is he?
No.
But not on. Yeah, but it's different saying that he can't use his feet and his distribution shit to actually like throwing old Rivitaris under the bus.
in that video, if you're listening to this in the car, in that video was the one against the 5-0 at home to Blackburn, and I could have picked him out for 3 of them. The ball hit the post and it came off the back of his head and went in. And then there's one against Brentford. Once again, we got spanked 5-0, where he got nutmegged from 30 yards out. Now, I appreciate both of those were pre-COVID, but come on, man. Bloody hell.
That Barnsley one was the worst one for me. That Barnsley one was the worst one.
And then
come on, no, come on, Dan. It's start of the season. We've said it many times. Come on.
Okay.
Positive. After Friday night, it was good. It was a loss, but it was shoots of some good. good signings, Delgado, and I keep forgetting his name. What's his name? Musaba. Can't say it. Musaba. And it's Cisco's first competitive game for us. Come on, mate. Let's not throw club legends under the bus. You'll be doing it to Palmer next, won't you?
Oh,
You'll be doing a highlight reel of it.
Oh, don't. Steve will be getting a taxi to Brighton.
Yeah.
So come on,
for just low light reel. Okay, right. Okay,
we're going to be positive. Sorry, everyone, for Daniel.
Let's have positive pants on. But yes, I'm very excited. This is me being positive. I'm really excited. We've got a new goalkeeper to challenge the number 1 spot with Cameron Dawson. Right, listen, Ash, tell us about Fantasy Football League before I wrap this up.
Oh yeah, why do I always have to do everything?
Because you're telling us things. You're the one that does all the admin. You do all the work.
So on our social medias, if you fancy yourself as doing a bit of a job like Cisco, Pep, or Jurgen, submit your team into our league. It's all over our social media, Twitter, the league code and everything. So I think there's about 80 teams in there now, so you've got to be half decent to be top of that one. And I think it's free to enter, but I think I may be able to get some dust and half-eaten lollipops from under Settee, and I'll give them some little prizes out, I think.
Might as well some prizes. Yeah, may as well. That's what it's there for, isn't it? Right. Yeah. In the meantime, does anybody have any other business?
Last time I did fantasy football, I spent all my money on someone great who I can't remember who it is. So I had to have Jay McEverly in my defence, who played for none other than Derby.
Boo.
And then he got injured, and he got more points for me as an injured player than playing and conceding as many goals as they were conceding every week.
Was that the season where they absolutely shit the bed?
Yeah.
11 points or something.
Yeah.
So that I've retired from fantasy football now, unfortunately.
We've obviously sorry to change the subject. We have obviously got Hull at the weekend as well, haven't we?
Yep.
So,
yeah. How are you feeling about it?
I think that'll be our first tester of where we actually are with Hull. I think that'll be the tester where they're one of the teams that we should be getting a result against, be it a draw or a win, in my opinion. Don't know what the other guys think.
What about you, Ash?
Yeah, I agree. I think tomorrow night we'll probably see quite a few of the newer signings, not like Fletcher and Delgado. I think they've played a few games now, but obviously Deshaun Bernard, I think his name is. Yeah, and I think Vasquez will play. So I think we'll see them. And then on Saturday, I agree with Si. I think they are an established championship team now. They've been there a few seasons. Obviously, Southampton different. I think it will be a good test for us away from home. I think Cisco will set it up probably not dissimilar to Southampton. I think he's gonna keep with that because they're a totally different team. The way they play, we're going to be Dan's going to be chatting to a Hull City supporter in the next couple of days, like for our hello from the other side. So we'll get his view on all things. And also, Deshaun Bernard was there, weren't he? He played there at Hull City, so get a bit of a thing from him. I'm quite confident. I think we'll win it. I think we'll win it 1-0.
Now, Ash, before I go to Holly for her thoughts on Hull, can you get me a small list up of some of your favourite fantasy football names? Because the creativity on some of these people absolutely slaughter me. Can you just bash me up a little list, please? Holly, what do you think about Hull City?
Well, not that you can tell anything about anybody from a very brief highlights reel, but when I watched the goals from the weekend, I felt like not most, but a lot of the teams, I felt like if we'd have played them, we'd have beat them or we'd have done all right, judging by what the goals other teams have conceded or how they were playing and stuff. There were a couple that were a bit better than I thought. Watching Cardiff against Leeds they were a bit better than I thought, but yeah. I think we might do all right based on that. We won't have to play Southampton for a little while, and I think based on everyone else seemed within reach, which is what we can ask for, really. Like, we can't expect much more than that.
That sounds like me at 10-2 in the zone in Rotherham in 1998. Right then, so thanks a lot for joining us. Ash, give me a list of some of these names. What have we got, pal? Give me some of the good ones. I'm excited.
Right, so there's going to be the same ones like over thousands of leagues and stuff. So I'll go with like Sheffield Wednesday themed ones.
Yes.
So we've got Cisco Inferno. I think there's going to be quite a lot. Yeah. Then we've got Chicken Tikka Masaba.
Brilliant.
We've got Ronnie's Owls. That's a Cisco 2000.
Brilliant.
Murder on Bannon's Floor.
Murder on. Hang on. I think you might have pronounced it wrong. I think you have to call it Murder on Banan's Floor. Haven't you? You've got to say it like that. Just for it to work.
What about Bull in a China Shop? Bull in a China Shop. I like that one.
I wonder how long he's had that name on Fantasy Football League. I bet that one's been rocking for about 15 years.
Panic at the Cisco, but at as in Chancery ATT, which I thought was quite a twist on the
a double.
Yeah. Deshaun Mustard, which I've got to say that's the highlight.
And who's done that one, Ash? Who's done that one?
That'll be me.
All right, brilliant.
For my son, but for the lad though. There's Silence of the Lambs. There's not a Sheffield Wednesday one, but there's loads. I'm scrolling here for ages. There's going to be hundreds.
Right. But so listen,
there is some really Wilders Wednesday. I'm not sure about that one.
All right, so the reason I went into that is because I genuinely enjoy the creativity of people when it comes to doing something like this. So what I want to do is try and start a Twitter thread this week of two things. One of your potential fantasy football team names, or you could just join the Fantasy Football League. Now, has any of you guys seen these videos on people's nicknames about how they come around and nicknames at work? For example, someone works with a guy called Wayne Bruce and they call him Man-Bat. You know what I mean? And there's a wonderful bit of stand-up by Greg Davis where he asks in the crowd, what did they call you? And he said, they called me Mumbo. And they went, why'd they call you Mumbo? Because his mum had BO. So, you know what I mean? So that, I want to hear some of your nicknames on Twitter as well. Now, the reason I'm telling this story is because I've got a really boring mate who's dead boring. He celebrated his 40th the other day, and his mum and dad bought him a Brabantia bin. Fucking... Like that's the levels that we're working. He used to do Morris dancing when he was 10. You know, that type of middle class kid.
Is it one of those where you just wave your hand over and it opens automatically?
Listen, apparently it's a good bin. He's very excited about it. And then when he got pissed up on his birthday, he sent us videos of him emptying his new bin. But I'll try and wrap this story up as quick as possible. So he was the first person in our group in hospitality to get promoted to area manager. So every time he kept referencing one of his pubs and one of my pubs and one of this pubs, we all kept doing like they did in between us, where we go, beep, 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 beep. Brace yourself for another my pub story. And then in his area of pubs, in a 6-month period, 3 people unfortunately passed away. So three of team that worked for him in his area had died in the pub. So his nickname on the group chat got changed to the Grim Beeper, which I really enjoyed. And then when he got his bin for his birthday, I've changed his name in the group chat to the Bin Beeper. So you know how you get like these big elaborate nicknames? I thought I'll put that out there and we'll see what we can get back. Go on.
Me and Dan have got a mutual friend from a few years ago, and his nickname was Jack.
Yeah,
Jack. Brilliant. Nothing wrong with that. And I'll not give he'll know who he is because he's a Wednesday.
His mum called him Jack as well. His mum used to call him Jack.
All his mates, his girlfriends, everyone called him Jack. And all it was that he once came into, I don't know, we went out one night or wherever it was, wearing one of these padded lumberjack shirts. That was the reason.
And for the next 30 years, literally 30 years ago, we walked past with a lumberjack top on and went, "Oh, Jack, you're playing football." And that he's got called Jack for 30 years.
And then 30 years later, he had a child. And guess what he called his child? Jack.
Cause lumberjack top. So if you've got some stories like that, folks, get involved. Ash will pop a tweet out because he does all the admin. So, that's just some more for Ash to do. In the meantime, thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks a lot to Ash. Hashtag, that's what you'll call you because you do all the online stuff now. It's going to be called Hashtag. That's what it's going to be. It's going to stick, Ash. It's going to stick. Yeah. Let's stick with Ash, Holly, and Simon. Thanks a lot. In the meantime, see you later.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.